Right, welcome. Today I'm going to show you the new wall unit and basically just a quick guide on the installation of it. So when you get it out of the box, it comes ready assembled. First thing you'll notice is there is 4 screws holding the lid off, so it is important that we take those off. So just using the right bit and the screwdriver, you can just quickly whip them out. Obviously, let's get the other 2 on the other side as well. Once you've got them out, put them to one side safely so you don't lose them. And then with a flat screwdriver, quite a good decent size one, you'll see there's 3 little notches, either in the bottom of the lid or in the top of the lid, depending on how you want to do it or which way around you're working from. But if you just get a screwdriver in there, just pop it up to your little click 3 times, and what should happen is the lid should lift off like that. Don't pull it right up, so don't twist it like that. Just lift it off a little bit and then just pull it up like that, and the lid should come off. Once we've got the lid off, you'll see there the workings of the unit. We'll go through that on a separate video, but the first thing you'll find there, you'll see the filter there, and you'll actually notice there's a lot of little knockouts there. You don't have to knock these out. We'll go through the installation of them in a minute, where you can have the ducting or the air inlet coming in from, and then you've got the outlet one. So you've got the lid off. You can basically see there, so down here we've got 2 fixing holes, and we've also got 2 down there. Hopefully you can see that. First thing you'll notice, if you've got a wireless or a Wi-Fi one, what you will notice is there is a cable comes through here, and it's basically fixes to this or this on a bit of barrier block. That's your 0 to 10 volts cable for your air sense sensors if you wanted to utilise one of those. It's connected on the barrier block here. If you want to wire it in, you've then got to run another wire, and you'd run it through where this cable's coming out, run it through there. Don't run it through the actual ducting itself, but you'd run it through there and connect it up onto that. If you quickly look, we'll go to an image of it now, and then we'll come back. And we're back here. So obviously you can see that, but on this particular one it's a standard unit, so we don't have that 0 to 10 volts input there. Fixing wise, the spigots you'll see here, again you'll see a little arrow here, and it's all in the install guide. You just twist that, depending on which way you're looking at, it could be clockwise, anti-clockwise, but twist that and then that actually come out. And what you can do if you wanted to change the orientation, so we can have the air coming in at the top there, side here, bottom there, or at the back. You can also turn this unit around, so we've got it if you wanted it as left or right hand, and again I'll go through that when we go through the actual installation of the product. But if you wanted to come through, say on the bottom one here, again you can get hold of these ones here, twist them, and then they come out. And you notice there's a big notch at the top there. If you put that at the top, push it and twist it, that should then go on. And it's the same with that one. Looking where the big notch is, and you'll see there's a little indent there for it. So put that in there, get it in there, and you just put it in, and you can either twist it from either side or just twist it round. That's gone clockwise, and that's locked in place now. So it's quite easy to swap those in and out and around. So you can see there, we've got the fixing holes, how the unit comes to bits. Putting the lid back on, again just doing similar, you can just basically get it on nice and level, just give it a tap round the edges. I'm not going to do it yet, but if you wanted to change it to left hand, what you can actually do is, as you've done with the lid, the back of the unit, although it's not screwed on, again you can just use a screwdriver, pop those off, lift the back off. Right, let's do it for you. Let's have a look. Just so you can see it and you're aware of it, just pop it up again. So again, once you get a screwdriver, don't pull it that way or force it up, just up like that, pushing it in. You'll hear it click, and that's it, and that should be that off there. And then again, if I just lift, a little bit hard, just be careful with that cable there. It's got caught, and you can see it's actually screwed on there, so you do need to remember to loosen that cable off, because it does come with that cable fixed on. Okay, so you can see there, you can also see what you've got to watch out for here is these cables here are running down, and they actually got a place and a little slot that they need to sit in. So they should be running through that groove there, and the same with the power cable there. What you need to be aware of, whichever lid you're putting back on, so let's say we wanted to twist this around and put that one on that side, you've got to be aware of where your cable's coming through. You want it on the one that's at the back of the wall, not at the front of the unit. So you can run it through, and you can run it in all 4 different positions. Again, we'll go through that when we're doing the install. But what you need to make sure that when you're putting it back together, that those cables are in their slots. Don't have it like that because the lid won't sit on properly. So just push it down there, they should be fitted in there. And then if I get that back on as I said, and just give it a little, make sure it's level, little tap on each side, a bit like you do with the cover for the thing, and you can see that's now gone on. All four sides. So then if I wanted to put the lid back on, I've got that on. You can see in there again where that cable is, but if we wanted it to run it, so obviously that's coming out at this side here. If I wanted it to run down the bottom there, I can easily do that. Then putting the cover back on, obviously again, just give it a little gentle tap around all four sides. Not forgetting to put the screws back in. Obviously, if your unit's quite close to a ceiling, you're not going to get the top screws in, but that's fine. It has been tested with just two bottom screws in if it's up on the top. But just make sure you put them in. Obviously don't over tighten them because it is only plastic, so I've only got the screwdriver set on a very low torque setting there. I happened to drop the screw, but just stick them in there. Bear with me a second. Getting too old for that. Stick that in there. There we go. Put that together. So what we'll do is I'm going to go away. We'll just have a look at actually fixing it onto a wall for you. But that's sort of quickly how you take the unit to bits. We'll go through the fixing of the wall and the orientation things in a second. I'll just we'll take the unit. We'll go and visit somebody's house. Take the unit. Drill a few holes in the wall, and we'll have a go. See you in a second. So here we are at Mrs. Jones's house. Got a wall behind us, pre-drilled hole, as you can see, ready done, outside to atmosphere, straight through the wall and out. Obviously with this unit now, as I've said, can be mounted in different orientations. So let's just have a look. If we look at this here, obviously we've got our mounting holes on the back. You see the two mounting holes there. So in this scenario, we would use it there. But if we're coming from another way or from the top, we can also do that as well. But in this scenario, what I'm going to do, because we're going here and we've got a wall here, so I don't know if you can see that, but there is a wall there. But what we're going to do, we can't do it that way. So we've actually got to change the orientation of this. So what I need to do is have the unit mounted like that. So I've got to change the cover around, the front and the back cover. So I'll show you how to do that now. We'll show you how to change this cover. So as we previously said, 4 screws, I've taken them out, so you don't have to watch me do that again because you have seen that. And then what we need to do, excuse me there, the microphone got caught up. A few little nicks, just like that. Lid, lift it up, and then just get to your hands there, or even from there, just lift it a little bit like that. Don't prise it up like that, because on the back of here, you'll see there's a groove and a couple of little notches and knockouts. You'll end up snapping some off or damaging the unit. So just lift it gently and then pull it up. Don't just prise it like that because it will damage the unit. Put that down to the side. As I've mentioned, what we've got to watch out for here, where the cable's running, it's running through, actually goes around the back of a, if you can see it there. So the cable's running along the back, and what we're going to do there is we're going to loosen this off so I can take it's just the cable clamp. I'm going to take that off, so when we remove the cover, the cable won't come with it. Again, put the screw somewhere safe. It doesn't drop on the floor or you lose it. And again, as you do with the cover, a couple of little nicks like that. It should lift off, and then just lift it up like that again. Again, don't prise it like that. So I've lifted that up. Bearing in mind I need to know which orientation and which side I'm putting it on, so we don't want to get confused. So what I now also need to do, obviously the cable here, if I'm now having my the other side of the unit, so this underside here is going to be against the wall, I need to run this cable down through there. That is just the cable clamp that I've taken off. I need to keep that safe because we're going to put that obviously back on for the cable. So what I'm going to do is, you'll see there's channels for where the cable runs in. Just take it out of those. Now what you want to do really, you could run the cable down through here, or you can run it through there, but I'm going to run it through the other side. I'm going to carefully take it down through there onto the other side of the unit. like that. There is a little bit of access cable there if you need it, or excess cable. So what I'm going to do then, you'll see there's a sensor there, don't worry too much about that. Along here. And that one there. And then through there. If I leave it that side of the thing there, you will find there is a little notch, there is room for the cable to run there. And bear in mind what I've got is the other thing. So now I'll put that on there because that's where my cable is running. Apologies, my fault. I'm actually coming down the bottom. I'm going to have the cable at the bottom there. I've come through the top, which again isn't a problem for it to come through the top. All what I've got to do there, we'll do it while we're here. Again, if you look on the cover, this is where the cable came through when it was on the bottom, but if I'm coming through on the top, I get my little screwdriver, oh, that there, pushes out and I can actually put that in on the top there. Now I've got a single one I can put on the bottom there. Hopefully you all saw that, it was a little bit quick and a little bit small. We'll just show you some images of those, they come out, so you can actually run the cable down there now. So what I'll do, Phillips screwdriver, take that one out. I'm going to put it up there because my cable's not coming up there now. I've blanked those two holes off. You need to ensure you do blank those holes off, and you've only got the one hole where the cable's going to run through now. So now if I put that lid back on, ensuring the cable is going through that catch there, give me a little gentle bit of persuasion. Just ensure what you've got to watch there. Again, you can turn that over, it's quite easy. Just ensure you're not catching the cable. Turn it around. Oh, ensure the cable's not getting caught. Push it down the side. And then that will just knock home nicely there. And then what I've got there, again, as I said, that little cable gland there, you may find it can be difficult to get on, but you'll bit of, you know, gentle persuasion. What you might find sometimes, again, if you can't get that on, you just start again. Because it does have two little grooves, so it sits between the lid and the thing. But sometimes, see, the issues I have is I've got a microphone, it gets tangled everywhere. You've got it easy on site doing these installs. So what I want to do, if you're a little bit stuck with it sometimes, just release that corner. As you've seen do previously, I release it. I can now, we'll try and get a close up of this. I can now get that in there. So it's above the cover. And I can now get the screw on. Screw that on. And just give that a little gentle nudge again. Home, she's in. So now I'm ready. What I've got there, I've got my unit now ready for handing, so it's going the right way on my wall. What I need to do now is decide I'm using the top knockout or the bottom knockout. So I'm going to use the top knockout. So take that out. Easier said than done. And then obviously what I do need then, I get the other knockout for the actual ducting to fit on. Take that off. Again, remembering if you have a look on here, there's some small notches and a big notch, and you'll see which way it goes, and it can only go in one way. I'll say that, but I'm sure somebody will try and do it the other way. 1 point. And then again, just twist it so the arrows line up. Like that. Now, that's on there. Obviously don't forget, put my blanking plate back on. So that side is now blanked off. Again, push and turn, and that's now ready. If you can see that, I've got that on the other side. Just got that focus a bit there. Here we go. Hello. Come on. There we go. So that's on there now. I do apologise for that. So So I've got that, and obviously I'm ready to put my cover on, but I'm not putting my cover on yet because I now need to mount it up and fix it to the wall. So we're going to look at doing that now, marking it and fixing it. Okay, we're back. So now I've got the unit handed the right way for mounting on my wall. I've got my hole drilled in the wall, nice and simple. I've got a level, I've got my screwdriver, I've got all my fixings. First thing you need to do, obviously, is mark up your drilling holes. Now, ideally you want either a very long slim pencil, if you've got quite a soft wall, long screwdriver or long drill bit if you've got one. So obviously getting the unit up against where you are, you've got your hole there. The first thing you'll notice, just for reference, I have taken the spigot off the back of the unit. For obvious reasons, I haven't actually got a hole there, so I can't push it through the hole. So I'm just taking it off the back for now, but use your imagination. I've got a spigot on the back there. I'll push that through the hole. I've got the unit marked, I've got it level. So the unit's nice and level now, I've got my plumb on there. I can get a marking in there, and I need something quite long and thin in there. So if you've got a long pencil, or if you've got a long screwdriver, it's quite a soft wall, you can get that in, get that pushed through, get it marked, get it level. Or even if you've got a long drill, or some small drill bit, just get it through onto there. So once you've marked that up, appreciate that's a little bit more difficult than it looks, especially when you're up a loft ladder with, you know, one foot on the banister, one on the ladder, you've got holding a drill, pen in your mouth, something like that. But if you've got a drill with a long drill bit, you'll get that in there quite easily. I have pre-marked these, just so you don't have to see me doing a load of drilling and look at the back of my head. Not the prettiest sight in the world. I've pre-drilled them, but you notice I haven't put the raw plugs in, just because I'm just going onto a thin board here. I don't want to be drilling loads of big holes, but obviously if you're using the raw plugs or plasterboard plugs or something, depending on what you're going into, make sure you've got them. You've got the 4 screws, and you probably find it's easier to use a long screwdriver. Again, you know, if you haven't got one handy, or you know, if you've got a long bit on the end of a drill, that'll be fine. But what you've got to remember is you are going to struggle to get a drill bit in there unless you've got quite a long, thin extension bit. So it is a bit easier with a longer screwdriver if you've got one. So again, just excuse the back of my head a minute. I'm just going to line that up, get a screw in there. I've got my long screwdriver, and I'm just going to tighten that up. We've got the unit up now, fixed on the wall. We've got the air coming in there, we've got the air going out there. If you wanted to, on the front of this air vent here, there is a screw hole in there, so we can take that off. There's a screw in there, we can take that off. That comes off. So what we can do with that, obviously it can be twisted, screwed back on position, or if we decide we're actually extending it because we're in a cupboard and we're extend, we can add duct into that, obviously going to where we need to go, and then undo it so you're actually on camera. You'll find that will actually sit on the end there, and we can screw through or just seal that on, so that sits on the end of the ducting. Alternatively, if we're not got it on the end of the ducting, twist it the way we want round, make that fixing. For the purpose of this one, I've got the vents going up, so it's going towards the ceiling, and I can screw it onto the front of the unit here. So that way that doesn't come back off. If I want to access the electronics, again we'll show you on another little clip in a second, but the electronics are housed behind a little thing in the front, and again with your flat screwdriver you can actually just open that up, prise it open. So I'll do that in a second on another video. That's basically it. The only other thing you need to do then, obviously get your cover, and we need to get our cover back on. So again, obviously if you've got it up against the ceiling here, you haven't got a lot of room, but you can just put that on straight like that. And then again, as I've said, I appreciate if you've got up against the ceiling, you're not going to get them top screws on, but do ensure you put the 2 bottom screws on the bottom. So I get those 2. Again, you could use your drill for this rather than try and use a bit, because that's the wrong bit on there. So what I can do there, get under there. Should be the right bit. Just not in the screwdriver right. Just can't get the staff these days, can you? That's that, done. So she's in, she's done. Logo's on the right way around. And that's really it then. Obviously, you've then got your power coming out the back there. You'd clip that, take that up, down, round to your fuse spur, wherever it's going, and wire it in, and that's your unit up and running. As I said, that can come in from the bottom there, or the top there, or the bottom there. Just another quick thing, just again, remember, if somebody wants to access it, check the filters. Take the screws out. Obviously ensuring if there is any on the top, make sure you take them out, but for this instance we haven't. And then it's just a matter of, again, getting your screwdriver, prise away, like that. So put it in, push it towards the wall, and that pops open. And again, this is a bit you got to remember, don't force it up, it just pulls off like that. So don't try and do that with it, because you will break some of these tabs on the top. So it just pulls away, just access the unit nice and easily. The filter itself, it is quite stiff, but it will come out, and then that filter could be hoovered or replaced with a new one. Just bear in mind, these are going to get clogged quite quickly because they're bringing air directly in from outside. New one, and then sitting there, you can see it's got a nice curve around it to get in there, just ensuring it goes over the back of the motor, and it pushes all the way home when you put it on. And then again, getting the cover on, making sure no cables here are going to get trapped. And that's basically it for installing the unit. As I've said, you've got your fixing holes. If you decide you want to blank that one off, it's quite easy to do, but obviously you've got a hole on the outside, but it could be blanked off. You could come in from the back of the unit, or you could come in from underneath, or if you've got the ceiling at the top and you're coming from the top, that's, again, dead easy to do. So very versatile and fairly easy to install, as long as you've got the right tools. That's about all I can say. So hopefully you've enjoyed that and been some use. Have a good look at the install guide, and happy installing. So hopefully you do a better job than me. Thank you. Right, so to access the controls, obviously they're behind the cover here on the front of the unit. Obviously, depending how the unit's mounted, will depend if these are at the top, bottom, or the size of the unit. Basically, a flat screwdriver, stick it in one of the holes, just give it a little push and a twist, and then the cover pops off, and you can see the control panel here. From here, you can go into various settings of the unit. So the first setting is just the airflow. At the moment, it's just indicating that that's the one that's highlighted. What I can do is firstly wake the unit up. It comes up. It's telling me I'm looking at this setting, and this is what speed it's in. If I wanted to adjust the speed, I press and hold the bottom, or the side button as it is in this case, because the unit's mounted on the floor, until that light flashes. That's now flashing, and then pressing and depressing this button then runs through the different speed settings. You can hear the unit speed up, slow down, till you get it to the setting you want. Once you're happy and you've got it on the setting you want, which would be set to the size of the property or the number of bedrooms or number of occupants, what I can then do is just press and hold again, a couple of seconds, and the light will go solid. And that's that now set. So if I turn power off, turn it back on, it'll stay back on that setting. I can then use this button here, which if the unit was sort of mounted on a wall, that'd be the top button. On the floor, it's the right hand button at this time. But if I press the button, it scrolls through various settings on the unit, from variable speed control, the hours run meter, which it's on now, just tells you how many hours the unit's been running for. If you've got an app enabled unit, you can control the app settings within there and reset them. There's the hours, the filter hours, so how long the filter's got left before it needs to be changed. And obviously we'd still recommend that's checked regularly, because it does depend on the environment and the air coming in. It may get blocked a lot quicker in some areas, especially if there's a building site or a busy road nearby, compared to what it might do in a rural setting where you're in a cottage in the middle of a field somewhere, and you know the air quality is a lot better. So you can go through the various settings there and adjust them. and obviously it just goes back to that one. This particular one here, the last one there, is there's quite a few different additional modes within the unit there, but that's covered within the install guide. So it's fairly simple to operate. Once it's all set up, obviously the idea is it's fit and forget. You can sort of leave it there and just leave it running, pop the cover back on, give it a clip, and that's the unit running. So it's quite easy to access the settings. I say a lot of them are covered within the install guide and how to adjust them. It's just understanding what the needs are of the customer and the actual property and what you need to do and set the unit up accordingly. And that's it really. So enjoy installing, setting up, and enjoy some good indoor air quality. Thank you.